You heard me. That was the moment that changed the tone of an otherwise routine press briefing in Washington. And suddenly the room, it was no longer calm. It turned sharp, tense, visibly uncomfortable. Well, a simple question about the US military strategy in Iran quickly escalated into a heated exchange that exposed the rising friction between the press and administration over the ongoing conflict narrative. And guess what? At the center of this confrontation, it was the US Secretary of War, Mr. Pete Hegseth, who strongly pushed back against an ABC news reporter during the briefing. What started as a question about the objectives and direction of the Iran-related military operations, it quickly turned into a clash over tone, intent, interpretation. The reporter asked whether the US had a clearly defined end goal in its ongoing military posture connected to Iran and the fragile ceasefire environment. But you know what? Mr. Hex said he did not accept the framing of the question. Instead, he interpreted very sharply, describing it as what he called an indictment disguised as a question. And with that, the temperature in that room, it changed completely. Witnesses in the briefing, they described a sudden shift. What was meant to be a standard press exchange, it turned into a direct verbal confrontation. Mr. Hegseth's tone reportedly became firm, defensive, visibly frustrated as he insisted that the premise of the question misinterpreted the US military intent and the ongoing operations by them. In fact, he doubled down on his position, stressing that the US remains committed to its strategic objectives and that questioning those goals in that manner, it undermines the seriousness of the situation. His response, delivered with visible intensity, it ended with a new viral line. You heard me. The exchange, it comes at a very important and highly sensitive moment, as tension around the US-Iran ceasefire continued to dominate the global headline. Even though a pause in direct escalation, it has been announced. Both sides remain on high alert, and political messaging have become just as important as military positioning. Officials that are very close to the briefing, they suggest that Hegseth's reaction, it reflects growing frustration within the administration over how this whole conflict it is being framed in public disclosure. Well, with every statement closely analyzed, even routine questions, they are now being treated as challenges to the policy itself. And yes, at the very same time, critics argue that such responses highlight a deeper issue: limited clarity on long-term strategy and increasing sensitivity towards public scrutiny of military decision, and that too in a volatile region. And you know what? This is what is making the moment so significant. It is not just about a heated exchange in a press room. It's about how information, how perception, and how power, they are now colliding in real time during an active geopolitical crisis. And as the Iran situation, it continues to evolve, one thing, it is becoming clearer every single day. Every question is no longer just a question. It is a confrontation. And with every answer is no longer just a response. It is a statement of intent.